All right. Hello, everyone. So, about a couple months ago, I tried to show this game to my younger brother, and he was thoroughly confused about it. Like, pretty much didn't really understand anything about the game. And I was a little bit disappointed, and I decided to make a video about it. So, with this video, I really want to cover three things. So, number one, just kind of going over the basic UI of this game. So what you see here. Number two, just some really simple things about this game. Just some really basic concepts to help you kind of get a grasp of what this game is about. And then number three, really what you should do, or some tips on what you should do as an alpha player to kind of get yourself used to the game. So, starting number one with the UI, going from top left to bottom right. So, what do you see? So, the first thing that you see here on this left side is the Neocom menu. And you can kind of think of this as kind of a taskbar that you have on Windows or whatever equivalent is for Apple or whatever. And it houses all of the folders and subfolders that exist in this game. And so Eve itself is a very complex game. So all the menus and whatnot are kind of brought together here. Oh, excuse me. And kind of grouped together, and you can kind of look at different stuff. And all these things here can be brought over and put on this little hotbar. And I think you get most of these here to start out with. And I threw this down in there because it's always nice to have a nice view of the ship tree whenever you want. And really, yeah. So going with these main ones here, from top to bottom, is your character sheet. So this houses everything about your character. So you can see here's this character here. Here's his name. Here's when he was created, which was today. The faction that he started with, in this case it's Amarr, and the corporation. This is the home station that you can change, and his security status. Here, which is a very important aspect of Eve, is the skills. And this is something that you're always learning. So Eve doesn't have like experience per se as you would in a normal game. You think of it as like you're constantly gaining experience every second, 24/7. And you have to decide what you want to put those skill points into. So right now, my character is learning drones level 2. And it'll take about another 26 minutes to learn it. And the next up in the queue is drones 3. And as an alpha account, you can only have your skill queue up to 24 hours. And as an omega, it's indefinite. So people just put on a whole bunch of stuff and just kind of forget about it. And then you have just some finer details about your character, what implants and boosters you're on. I'm on nothing. Jump clones. Attributes. Now this here affects skills, your skill training speed. Just whatever flavor biography you want to put on here, and this is more like for player corporations. Interactions. So I'll get to this later. This is a very important concept of Eve, and we'll discuss that in the next section. This is just basic buying Omega time and whatnot, and then cosmetic ship skins, and then whatever history you have. Yeah, so this is history of skills that I've been learning. But yeah, so going down from there is you have the agency. Now this is a very nice feature that they added, but it kind of functions as a PvE dashboard, if you will. That kind of cover everything, all the main aspects of Eve that you can do. You can kind of see a menu up here, and then more of a graphical menu right here. So agents and missions, encounters, exploration, resource harvesting, your corporation, in this case it's an NPC corporation, the proving grounds, kind of a quick match PvP, and then the tutorial. And you can click on these and it'll give you all the kind of like sub things you can do. And now that I think about it, it might be pretty good just to kind of do a video on some of these, like a more in depth on mission agents. Probably these would be grouped together. Maybe all three of these actually. Actually, the whole damn thing might be grouped together, because these are all kind of similar. They all kind of go together, which is why they're like that. But encounters, for example, are much more diverse. So you have incursions, faction warfare. Those are very separate and distinct. So maybe some videos on those and what you can do as an alpha pilot. And then going down from there, you have your mail. People can send you things, like email, if you will. And, I've been here for less than 24 hours and I already have a corporation recruitment. And then your menu, your inventory. So it kind of shows your ship here, and that's that. This is the main cargo hold for it. And then whatever like sub cargo holds. In this case, this ship happens to have a drone bay and I have nothing in it. And then all of your kind of personal assets that you have. And kind of going with that, I'll dock here in a second. Your wallet, so how much money you have, you can kind of see there. If you just highlighted, gives you the basics, but if you click on it, it'll give you a bigger breakdown of how you got that money. In this case, it's mostly through missions and agents, a little bit through bounty, and then just miscellaneous. The market is where you buy and sell things, both the players and NPCs. And I think this kind of deserves a whole video by itself. And I'll just kind of touch a little bit about it in the next section. And then here's your ship's fitting. You can see your ship right here. Slots available, and you can throw things on it, only in stations. Maybe kind of also a video on itself, because this is kind of the nuts and bolts of it. People spend some time kind of optimizing their ships. And then the map covered a whole Eve galaxy. It's quite large. Project Discovery, this is kind of like the game within the game kind of thing, kind of like a side game. In this case, it's doing COVID research using flow cytometry. Help menu, chat, which is right here, and this is what I added, which is a ship tree. And what you can see is that there are a lot of ships in Eve, something like 350 or something, and all grouped by faction. So Amar, Caldari, Galente, Mimitar, all that. And you can see how far you can go as a alpha. So anything here with this Omega sign means you have to have Omega access to go further. And we can kind of talk about ships in another video. Wonderful. So we covered that. Oh, down here at the bottom, just some daily login stuff. And I really like this, that every day you get something new, and it's something beneficial to an alpha character, because assuming you're starting with nothing. So this is day 1. Can I show day 2? Yeah, so day 1 got some stuff every single day. It looks like you even get a free frigate out of it and some skins for it. So that's pretty interesting. And then you accumulate some skill points, and at the end, once this is full, you can collect them. And this is just some random deal they gave me to kind of entice me to be Omega. And this is just some stuff from the logins that I can claim, one of which is 1,000,000 skill points. And if you're wondering how I got that, I'll explain it to you at the very end. So going from here to what you see here, if you can see my mouse, is this is kind of like really your objective menu, or objective bar, I guess. Starting in every single one of these can be removed. If you click on this here, it gets rid of that. So you can basically kind of do that if you don't want them to be there. So first things first is kind of the this is an overall search menu. So if you wanted to search, Jita, for example, it'll show you everything related to Jita. So you have a agent with Jita in her name, characters with Jita in their name, alliances, systems, and really if you're searching for Jita, you kind of want this right here. Or this. All the stations that are in Jita, charge, stuff like that. And also, for example, if you want missiles. There you go. Okay, here, there's some skills relating to it. There are commodity implants related to it. So just basically a general search bar. And then right here, you kind of have the system information, so where you are. So in this case, I'm in the Canoban solar system. Here's the security status with it. And Canoban is located in this constellation. So a group of solar systems make up the constellation, and a group of constellations make up a region. And those regions are usually owned by a faction of some sort, or if it's in null security, by a corporation. And this is kind of who owns this area. If you're traveling, and you can set a destination, it'll show up here. This is kind of, what do they have it? Yeah, so daily campaign or daily login, do this, get some skill points, and if you're doing a mission, some information about your mission here. So going from here to the other side, so what you have here, it starts here, you can kind of move these things wherever you want, is whatever you select, this kind of gives you more information about it. So if I want to select a sentry gun, there we go. Here it is. Gives me some commands I can do. I can approach it, warp to it. I'm too close to warp, orbit it, all that kind of stuff. I can look at it. There we go. It looks pretty cool. I can go back to my ship and get some information about it. So, very nice. The next is something that's very important to this game, and that's the overview. So this kind of tells you everything that there is that's warpable into the system. And then when you get on grid with something, like right here, kind of what's around you. And this can be filtered. So as you notice, the sentry guns that I was looking at aren't showing up on there, but I can click on it and then add it to overview, and then boom, there they all are. If I don't want them, I can click on them again and remove from the overview. And other changes you can do, you can just click on this right here and add different things to it, how it looks, how different things look. It's very customizable, and usually corporations have their own custom settings for it that you just import. So yeah, and each ship has its own different symbol. Each ship class kind of has that, and you can kind of set what you want here as well. So this is kind of like what's going on around you. Then going, excuse me. Then going down here is the chat menu. So you can see local. You can see how many people are in it, which also correlates to how many people are in this system right now. in the NPC corporation. And since this is a new character, the rookie help. And then what we have here in the bottom middle is really the information about your ship and what you can do. So if this was a character in another RPG or MMO, life bar and your actions you can do. So starting with that is really you have 3 main health bars. You have going from outer here to middle to inner. You have shields, armor, and structure. And depending on like the type of ship, some ships are mostly shield tanked, some of them are mostly armor tanked. Nothing is really hull tanked. I think Galente usually has more hull, but that's different. And then what you have over here is really like the modules that you have set on your ship. So if you go back over here to fittings, you can see I have 2 pulse lasers with an infrared crystal in them, and I have them grouped. So you can see 2 there, and then 1 afterburner, and that's there. So if the weapons are kind of the same, you can group them together. So you just click on once to fire everything, and then I have my afterburner here. And when activating these guys, you just hit it once, click once, and it's active. And it kind of gives you a cooldown here for it. So it's active right now, and then it pulses again, like that. And really everything here, for the most part, consumes capacitor. So you can think of this like a mana bar or stamina, something like that. And this slowly goes up over time. It goes up slowly as it's closer to full. But if this is like down to half, it'll go up a bit faster. But just to give you an idea, so most actions require a bit of capacitor, not normal movement. So if I click over here, you can see my ship is moving. That doesn't take up capacitor, but if I kick the afterburner in to make it go faster, this will use up cap. So I'll stop my ship. And then over here, kind of just some quick menus. So you can click here to view your cargo hold, kind of the same as this right here. These guys here are your tactical overlays. So you can go here for first person. It's kind of fun every now and then, but it really doesn't, I don't think it serves a purpose. This is your normal view, and you can move to the left. Left click, like this, kind of orbits. Right click, you can look around. But most of the time you won't be looking like this. You'll be usually out here, seeing what else is around you. And you can look at this guy, and it'll tell you how far you are from him. Another way of doing this is actually clicking on this tactical overlay. So now, what you see is there's an actual grid here. Kind of a distance target, so you can kind of see how far things are away from you. And then even more so is the tactical camera, where without this, if I have this on right here, so it just orbits my ship. If I have this on, I can kind of freely move around. Right, so it's no longer locked onto that ship, my ship. You can kind of move it around like this. So it kind of give you some better angles on what's going on, if you so choose to do this. And you can just click this thing and go back. And then click that to remove it. So that's the autopilot, and here are your scanners. So with this, I wouldn't worry about this. This is kind of gives you an overview of the current system you're in. But what's important are your probe scanners here to look for anomalies, or ships if you have combat probes, and then also your directional scanner. And just a little bit about this is right here. So this will only show things you can warp to, like stargates and stations or asteroid fields, from far away, or things that are on grid with you. But it won't show something if there's a ship over here in this asteroid belt. If you want to know that, you can either warp to it, or you can do a directional scanner to do that. And you can kind of adjust the angle of it here to be all the way around you. And you can see everything within this sphere. And as you can see, there's a lot. Or you can fine tune it. Kind of do like this. Can I actually get it to do it? Here. Easy if I just click here, so it'll face that, and then I'll go back to it. There you go. So now, where are you? There. No. Are you in here? Oh, it's right here. So that asteroid belt is on there, and I can hit scan, and it'll scan everything in this range. So obvious it's scanning past it, so what I can do is reduce the range to it and do that so I can see what's kind of over there. And this is extremely helpful if you're like trying to hunt down a ship and you don't know where it is, or if you want, say for example, want to warp to this jump gate to get out of the system and you're a nullsec and you don't know who's there. You can do this to kind of figure it out. So I think that pretty much covers it for the UI. So let's kind of get to the basics. I guess we can start with like security status and standings. So all systems, all solar systems in this game that are in known space have a security status attached to them. And that relatively gives the idea of safety, at least in the eyes of the NPC police of that system. And it kind of ranges from 1.0 to negative 1.0. And really the higher it up it is, the more safe, I put that in quotes, the system is. And really that dictates what kind of actions you can do that get penalized. So right now, if a player ship were to come and shoot my ship, Concord, which is the NPC police, will warp over here and blow them away. It may or may not save my ship, but they get shot down regardless. And that response slows down as the security status goes down. And what... So, yeah. So I guess you can also say that really security status is kind of broken into three groups. So you have high security, low security, and null security, or no security. High security is 1.0 to 0.5, and that Concord response that I was talking about gets slower from 1.0 to 0.5. And I think at 0.5 it's like 20 seconds or something. Low security, so 0.4 to 0.1, you won't get an automatic response from Concord. So PvP is more allowed there. So if you go there, kind of go on your own risk if you're not looking to fight. And because it's more dangerous, some of the rewards for like shooting down enemy NPCs and whatnot have a higher value. There is a response on gates and on stations because there are station guns, much like you see here. They're also there on in low-sec. So if this was a low-sec system, for example, and one of these people were to shoot me, say this Mauler here, the gate guns would shoot him. So, just to give you an idea. Going with security status, you as a person have a security status. So really this game is kind of down to factions and corporations. So there are 4 main NPC factions. So the Amarr, Caldari, Minmatar, and Gallente. And then within those factions, there are a whole bunch of NPC corporations. And along with NPC corporations, there are player corporations. And all those corporations have like you can have like a security status with them. And for player corporations, it's not that big of a deal. That's mostly to kind of show who's dangerous and who's not, or who you can shoot without scrutiny or not. For the NPCs, it kind of dictates whether there's a response from the NPCs or not. So right here, my security status is 0 because it's a new character. By like shooting other players in high security or anything like that, this will go down. And if it gets far enough negative, if I go into high sec, the NPC police will come hunt me down. Interactions within the faction or corporations kind of dictates the kind of levels of mission agents, the levels of the mission or the agent missions I can get. So at faction 1, for example, here for the Amarr, if I get security status of 1.0, that opens up level 2 missions to all the corporations that are under the Amarr Empire. And that's kind of hard to build up. You're more likely, and it's more easier to build up reputation with individual corporations by running missions. And I think once you hit about 5.0, you're actually considered allies, and they'll be blue to you like this. And on the other hand, pirates, so the NPC bad guys, the ones that you can shoot and get a bounty from, they are also kind of a corporation, and you'll get negative standings for shooting them. But there are ways that you can get positive standings with them and actually be allied. So you can actually play the game as kind of a pirate. So I think I covered that quite well. Let's just kind of cover the marketplace really quick. So let's go ahead and dock.
Docking request accepted.
And with the marketplace, like I said earlier, is that's all done. That's how you buy and sell stuff, either from players or from NPCs. And it's really simple to tell. So most of the, I think, let's just say 95% of all the stuff in the game is made by players and sold at marketplaces. And these aren't marketplaces for the whole game. These are marketplaces for each region, and you can see where the things are. So let's take a light drone, for example, a hobgoblin. So we can see here the price and where they're located here. That happens to be the station that I'm at, and how long these are up for and how many there are. And you can see there are also other ones jumps away, and for different prices. This guy is particularly proud of his hobgoblins, so I don't think people will normally buy that. You can also see people that have sell orders or buy orders, and that will automatically buy stuff at that price. The NPC stuff, you can easily tell, and they're mostly like blueprints, and there's a couple of like flavor items that they'll buy, but they're most notable for blueprints, and you can see them because they usually have like long expire dates, about a year or so. That's how you kind of have an idea that it's an NPC. But yeah, so really you don't have this kind of person interaction with NPCs in this game. This is kind of how it is. And as you can see, there's a whole bunch of stuff in this. But we can kind of cover that later. It seems like a lot, and it actually is a lot, but once you kind of get a nice grasp over it, you can kind of break these things down into smaller bits and group them together and they'll make sense. Kind of going back to inventory. Now you can see a ship hangar and an item hangar. So every single station has these, and it'll show what kind of ships you have in this station and also what items you have. So what you can see is obviously my rookie ship is here because I'm docked here. And you can look at it through this menu, and you can also look at it over here in hangars and over here. So ships and items. And so the one last thing in the basics I want to cover is, let's see, just really the basics to flying. And that's that if you go through the tutorial, it kind of gives you a very basic approach to this. But really, there are a couple ways of doing the same thing. So if I wanted to warp to this station, for example, for this Stargate, which is what you use to go from one system to another, I can click on it here. I can go to the kind of selected item menu and do warp, right? I can do it this way. I can right click and warp, and I can click and hold, and this radio menu will show up, and I can also warp. So there's a bunch of ways to do it, and there's also the hot button, right? So for warp, it's S. But I don't want to do that right now. And the other thing is actually locking things up. So you can lock here. So I just do like control left click. Oh, it's too far away, so I can't do it. But you can lock things, and you'll kind of see a menu like this, and you can kind of move them around. So I wonder if you can see something. Let's just jump over here.
Warp drive active.
Yeah, so this game is quite beautiful. So we're going over here. Let's go. Warping, it's not too far away. There we are. And there's someone here. Right there, mining away that stuff. But so you can go ahead and you can lock something up. You see the lockup time, and it shows up here. So this, you can kind of move around. Can you? Yeah, see? Kind of do that. So it doesn't have to be kind of where it starts out. You can kind of move it around to wherever you feel comfortable up to where it is on the screen. And you kind of do things. So let's just orbit it. I don't want to orbit it at that. Let's just set this to 5,000. There we go. So orbit again. This will tell you what you're doing. And let's turn that afterburner on so we can get there faster. So there you go. So you can see what it is you're targeting. And then if something is targeting you, it'll show up over here. As a yellow box, it means they're locking onto you. And if it turns red, that means they're actively firing on you. So they're both two different states. And if you look here, in the tactical menu, it'll actually show you your orbiting pattern right here. So you can see how you're orbiting and then the direction you're currently going. And you can actually see the kind of direction that it's approaching you if it does. It's an asteroid, so it's not but you can kind of see that kind of stuff. And then also note that most weapons are turret based, so they have a tracking score to it. Oh. Where did I get that from? Huh. A random player donated $500,000 to me. Awesome. Oh, it's that guy. This Procure donated to me. Let me send him a message. There. Anyways. So I'll stop my ship and work back. So, there you have it. That's kind of the basics to it. Generally, people in this game are quite friendly to new people. So going back to the third part is what should you do, at least at the beginning, as an alpha account. And for that, we can go to the agency. So I highly recommend completing this very beginning tutorial. I'll kind of give you instructions on how to play, some basic controls, and at the very end of this, it directs you to career agents. And I think that's a very good and smart strategy. So these are the ones here, and they really cover in more detail the kind of areas in the game. So business, exploration, industry, kind of making things and mining things, and then the 2 levels of military. And not only do you learn things about it, but you actually get stuff from it too. Like, I think you actually get a frigate and a destroyer from these. I think this one you get a mining ship. So it's geared to teach you and then kind of help you out. And then from there, probably pick an aspect of it that you like and kind of pursue it. So a lot of this game is mostly PvP based, with some PvE in there. And it's also player based as well. So the player makes most of the story. So I do recommend joining a corporation. My main character is a part of EVE University, which is a corporation designed for teaching people how to play the game. So I recommend that as a good start to kind of understand the finer mechanics of the game. And then if you still enjoy it, you can move on. You can either stay with the corporation or move on to another corporation. But there we have it. I hope this is informative. Oh, before I forget. Yes, skill points. You can get 1 million of them, which I think is about 20 days worth as an alpha, for free. In the description section of this YouTube video, I'll put a refer a friend link. So basically you would click on that link, it takes you to the EVE website, and you can create an account and a character there, and you'll get this. So you can get 1 million free skill points. It's like 20 days worth of learning that you can apply instantly to skills. So that will help you out a lot in getting your some of the basic skills learned. So I'll put that in the description section. Also, since it is refer a friend, and this is a social game, invite your friends to play. And if you don't really have any friends that want to play, then you can always send me a message, and you can ask me in game for help. And if you just want someone to fly with, you can do that too. To do that, Let's go. You can go here. Personal. People and places. You can just type in my character name. My alpha character for this channel. So Tris CL. Tris-CL. Search. Here I am. There should be an option here to send a message. Or you can do it this way through email. Compose like that and be like, hey man, what's up, something like that, and I'll respond, and we can go fly around and do stuff. I will say there's actually a phone app for this as well, so you can keep track of stuff that I have on my phone. And I think it's really great for keeping up with what skills you're learning, and you can actually add skills to your queue from the app. I think it works for an alpha account. I think that's a great tool because you are constantly gaining skill points 24/7, and by not having something active here, you're wasting skill points. So that's kind of my spiel with it. If you have any comments or questions, leave them in the comment section. This is my alpha character for this channel. I'll be making a bunch of videos related to this, to things that you can do as an alpha account, different ways to have fun at EVE, and that is the purpose of this. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'll see you guys next time.